finally off the mark in League B Group 1 of the Nations League, and there you can have a look at the table. It does move Ireland for the time being up to second place behind Ukraine, who are 2 wins from 2. As Darren Ray were saying, everybody here at the Aviva Stadium really enjoyed that, including Shay Gibbon and Richie Sattler.
Well, not everyone. We're standing here in front of the Scotland fans who were full of voice at the very start.
And there are plenty of them as well.
There was some slight boos at half-time, and there's plenty of them now. A lot of angry faces. We stood here the other night basking and almost how happy and celebrated the Ukrainian fans. But today's all about the Irish fans. You're right. They've been waiting a long time to see a competitive win here. It's been 3 years, a lot longer since a win against a higher ranked team. Stephen Kenny said beforehand this could potentially be the biggest result in many years. It's certainly the biggest result of Stephen Kenny's reign, and it was a thoroughly deserved result. We said beforehand today was all about the result. It didn't matter the performance, that was all secondary. Goals would have been great, clean sheet would have been nice, but it was all about the win. But on every element really of that performance and the outcome, we're happy.
Yeah, buzzing. I know I'm supposed to be a pundit and be all sensible, but I'm really happy. I'm excited, like, for the team, for the management, just for the whole. You know, they've been on a lot of pressure. Stephen Kenny, you can see the sort of the pressure cooker, the pressure, the steam's coming off his ears, I think, because he was under a lot of pressure. We spoke about before the game. Obviously, lost the first 2 games in this campaign, and we just seen the group there. They're up to second after 1 victory. It's just amazing how quickly things can turn around. So obviously go to Ukraine on midweek now. Duffy's going to be a big loss, I think, because he was immense again today, as was plenty of other players as well. Obafemi and shot there. What a game he's had. Brilliant assist and a phenomenal third goal. I just loved his enthusiasm after he scored as well, what it meant to him as well. And it's just nice to be here to experience that.
And you're definitely loud basking it. You know what? Sometimes being sensible is way overrated. You said it was all about the result, Richie, and Shay hinted at it there. The fact that they did produce the result, the performance like they did, with the backdrop of all that pressure that was on the manager and that was also on the players as well.
Yeah, and I suppose when you're in the camp as a group of players or as the coaching staff, you try and eliminate all the external noise and stay focused on the task, which is not always easy to do. But on the back of the poor results and particularly the poor performance in the last week, it must have been pretty hot in there. They knew the importance of the outcome today. And we said beforehand, like, we were looking for goals. It's not a team that's free scoring. I looked at the team lineup and it was inexperienced players. We weren't having players up front who have a long record of scoring at international level. And my God, did they produce today. So you can imagine the morale boost in that dressing room, the confidence boost among particularly the youngsters, but not dismissing the impact on the senior players as well. And these are the scenes we would have wanted to have seen. Like a lap of honour, full of smiles, full of hugs, high-fiving each other, and a lot of people going home happy.
The sound in the Aviva is something else, and understandably Stephen Kenny and the players, they're lapping it up. We can't look past the fact, though, this is the first win from 3 in a campaign. It's come against the Scotland team that weren't great today. Now, it's very positive, but I presume we have to be cautious as well.
Well, they want to go against Ukraine and back this result up. Of course, it's a brilliant result, and as I said, the confidence and the belief the players and the staff will get from today. And as Stephen said before, 7 years since a competitive victory here, and 3 years since a victory in any competition, you know. So it means a lot to the manager, it means a lot to the players, and let them enjoy the moment now. Let them enjoy this, what it means to these fans, what the players, they haven't seen the fans doing this very often. So let's back it up now on Tuesday, but just this present moment, let them enjoy this atmosphere. It's brilliant.
This evening after a 3-0 win over Scotland in the Nations League. Yeah, the crowd is beginning to disappear a little bit here at the Aviva Stadium, but I'm sure in full voice still out on the roads surrounding. Let's get straight to that goal, because I don't think there's any point in waiting anymore to have another look at this.
Yeah, I think it's what everyone wants to see as well. We said at half-time we wondered what the approach would be. Would we hang on to what we had or keep going forward and realise that this Scottish team is there to be got at? But you see this footage here, there's so much energy, closing the players down, winning tackles. I mean, there's a kind of physicality that we hadn't seen in the previous 2 games for lots and lots of reasons, but we didn't see it. And then this moment of brilliance, though Obafemi dismissed it as I just hit it. Goalkeeper couldn't do anything because of the swerve, the way that the ball moved in the air. Outstanding goal.
I think it's the power as well, Richard. From a goalkeeping point of view, you're sort of set and then it moves all over the shop, and before Craig Gordon reacts, it's past him. It's just the power is just immense.
It was the power and the movement in it as well, and you couple that with his assist for Troy Parrott's goal. Look, what a contribution for him. like to play it's his debut, and this is a player as well. Remember, there was a little bit of controversy around him a little while ago. He wasn't in a squad. There was a tweet, and we were reading into the interpretation of the tweet.
But it was August 2020, and a little a pondering kind of emoji with it.
All of that, and I looked at that from distance. Oh God, I hope this just settles down, and this isn't a thing that's going to grow into something that it shouldn't be. And then a while ago, he said, he's young enough to play 21s, but he didn't consider himself as a 21s player, and you're just hoping for outcomes like that.
Thing? But is that a confidence thing? I don't want to be 21s. I know that you should play for your country at any level, and I did.
You can read it in lots of ways.
You know what I mean? But is it a confidence thing that I'm good enough to play in the first team? I should be in the senior squad, or at least knocking on the door.
And I think Stephen Kenny actually did say in an interview soon after that he kind of backed him with similar words, I think.
And you think of his confidence now after today. He says he's come off with a niggle, but I'll be fine. Get me back out there on Tuesday. He's raring to go again.
He's not even sure if it's his best goal. Love it.
That was absolutely brilliant.
He
did score 11 goals in his last 19 games with Swansea in the Championship, so he did come in with a good record.
He's had a really, really good season, so he's coming in on form with belief and confidence, all of the things that from a distance you'd look and wonder whether our players in the last couple of games had, because of the way they played. But you don't want to get too carried away. Not every partnership between Parrott and Obafemi will be as lethal and as pleasing on the eye and as clinical as that, but my God, today they were all of those things.
It is quite refreshing, but because before the game and all the games leading up was like, we're struggling to score goals. Troy Parrott's 20, Obafemi's 21, and you're looking for, shoots of something to grab hold of. These two guys could be the future, could be the next 10 years. If they can build up a relationship and play like they did today, why not? Why can I not just dream about that?
And develop. I remember when Troy Parrott scored the late equaliser against Lithuania earlier, or whenever it was, a while back. I remember thinking at the time, because I hope in 12 or 18 months we're still not talking about that as his high point. I hope he goes on and builds on that, and in the biggest games he's starting and in the biggest games he's scoring, which is exactly what he did today, so he must be sky high as well.
By the way, you must have been playing in this game. 1997 was the last time that Ireland players aged 21 or under, the two of them scored in the same game. 97, do you remember that? Mark Kennedy and David Connolly, by the way, for any stats fans at home.
Might have been playing, yeah, probably. Don't remember, but
okay, it doesn't matter. It is interesting, but the key is to whether they can do it again. I like the whole overall performance, but when you're talking about two young forward players like that, you want to see them doing this all the time. And you also, and we know that Troy Parrott and Obafemi, in fairness, have had to move around to try to get again that football. Yeah,
we spoke about Troy anyway off air, and we were saying like he's been around different clubs and struggled and has not found his home yet as such. He struggled at Millwall, of course, and you just hope that even today's goal and his performance, not just the goal, I think his all-round performance, both strikers, they were absolutely brilliant, and they'll only take belief and confidence from that, and you just hope that Troy finds a home that he settles in, gets a regular run in the games and gets in the team and scores goals, because we all know strikers love scoring goals, and that gives him huge belief, huge confidence.
He's on the back of a full season of first team football. It's in League One, it was a promotion push. I was in contact with him after the playoff defeat. He was devastated. So like Shay said, he had previous stints it was at Ipswich and Millwall, and he couldn't really find his level. So if this is his level going forward, we'll be delighted. But again, we have to be conscious here of his age and manage expectations a little bit. Adam Ida is to come back in. Robinson's been a little bit dip. We hope we can get more from him. So there are players there, but like Shay said, before the game we're sitting there like wondering where will goals come from. Shane Duffy probably will be an option, but where else? So this is great.
And Duffy was, of course, involved in the first goal, I think it was. We've talked about up front. A lot of the reason why Ireland did have the ball in order to get the ball to those lads, where there were so many tackles going around the middle of the field. Like, how key was that today?
Yeah, they were brilliant. Malumba, Cullen, and even Jason Knight we spoke about before the game as well. The energy levels in there was unbelievable, and I don't think they let Scotland get on the ball, settle on the ball. We see the press from all over the pitch, and they pressed high up the pitch as well, won the ball back, and that gives you an opportunity to attack the goal as well. The higher up you can get the ball back. I just think the energy levels, John, were just phenomenal. I don't know if it was because it was their local neighbours or whatever. I don't know whatever it was, whatever Stephen said before the game. But I think this is a 3-0. Look at the three Irish players. 3-0 up, and they're squeezing Craig Gordon down, and like that's phenomenal. Fitness levels, enthusiasm levels, call it whatever you want. But again, breaking up, not letting Scotland get in any sort of feel they're in the game. The midfield today was key to the victory. And
bearing in mind the things you just talked about there, that they were the things that Ireland were criticised for after the last game.
It's you hear the phrase, we don't have the players, or people question, do we have the players? So when we're disappointed with a performance or a defeat, someone will throw out that question and I wonder, what do you think we expect? It's that. That's doable. That's not down to ability. That's a mindset, that's organisation, that's having a collective kind of bit of bite and fight in you, something we've always had. So all this talk about playing out from the back or philosophy changes, great, bring it in. We've all called for it for years, but don't forget that part. And I think that part was crucial in why we got the chances, why we got the goals, and why we made Scotland look very, very ordinary. I understand why the Scotland fans were upset, because they looked so poor because of the energy and the ferocious running. Malumbi in the middle park was brilliant. I think he brings something to the midfield that, for example, Hendrick didn't the other night.
You both keep using the word energy and high energy. They are on this run of games, and we know there obviously have been changes to the team, but maintaining that energy, is that difficult?
Well, he made 5 changes today, freshened things up, and you could see, I think the team really looked full energy today. We just showed some of the shots there. Obviously we're going to look to Tuesday now. Can we back today's result up with another victory on Tuesday? I mean, for me, Duffy, I thought, I mentioned him already, I thought was brilliant in both boxes. We talk about set plays, we talk about one of the goals in the first half. He was the one that set it off with that header back to Brown for the first goal. I think defensive as well, we didn't probably highlight Duffy today, but everything came into the box. Him and Hanley were fighting, but Duffy was on top every single time, so he's going to be a big miss. We don't know how fit John Egan is, because today we didn't think he was going to play at all, so he's played tonight. He's going to have to be wrapped up in cotton wool, because you've got one of your main centre halves missing as well. And Collins, who you spoke about before the game, I thought was immense today again. So a lot of big performances there.
We saw that brilliant goal from Michael Obafemi. Now, Ireland did great. Not as many chances as the first half. There was one possibly that should have been counted as a goal, but they did have a few half chances.
Yeah, fortunately at 3-0, it's not too important to keep creating goal scoring opportunities, but this is a really good one. Again, James McLean, his final ball was really, really good today, which brought about this chance from Hogan. That angle isn't conclusive for us. The VAR obviously had a difficult job. There wasn't an angle that they could look at from the touchline. There was no goal line technology here, so they're going by that. So they obviously didn't be able to say it was a clear and obvious decision. And this ball up the side to Parrott, really well read by Gordon, but really pleasing second half performance as well.
You mentioned you were surprised at the lack of goal line technology. It is up to the Home Association to decide whether or not to use it. It costs a little bit of money. As we know, the FAI aren't exactly flush at the moment. Not all nations do provide it.
Right, but the thing for me, if the game's 0-0 today and goal line technology, that's a goal, for example, and we draw 0-0, you know, whatever it costs, I don't know how much it costs, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the FAI or anything, but that little inch or whatever it is, it's worth paying it, because that could be a massive 3 points dropped. 3-0, there's no harm done, is there?
It could work the other way for you as well.
I suppose, yeah.
An incorrect decision.
I suppose.
Let's give them a bit of benefit here.
Are you suggesting, given the way the games have gone so far, that's what no, obviously not. If we're talking about building, so because we have seen this team in the past, they put in good performance, solid performances, but we're just looking for them to do it on a consistent basis, string it back to back. I mean, I suppose we don't know until Tuesday night, do we, if they're actually capable of that?
Well, yeah, it's a big game. It's one of the toughest games in the group. Let's not be honest. Going to Ukraine, it's a very, very difficult game. Ukraine came here and made 10 changes, so I'd imagine Tuesday night they'll have their full strength team out against Ireland. After the result today, they'll have to try and win the game. But just going back to the old-fashioned, the confidence and the belief that this Irish team and management will get from today, a 3-0 victory, a clean sheet, you know, they'll be getting into that game bouncing at the game, and it's up to them to back it up. Let's back it up on Tuesday.
I'm not surprised he's feeling a little bit tired. He put in such a shift today. He did more than just quite well, didn't he?
He was excellent, and beforehand we knew what he was up against. Right in front of him was a player of the quality of Robertson, and I think the biggest compliment you can give to Brown, of the many compliments, is how ineffective or really almost disappointing Robertson was based on the standards he set all season. So he's right to feel really, really proud of the performance he gave, and also it's now a challenge for the manager and the players to kind of regroup ahead of Tuesday, not only just to keep the level of performance up, but to find the energy reserves, because 4 games in 10 days at the end of a season on the back of a 3-week break, it's difficult. So obviously Stephen and the medical staff or the physios will be able to assess everyone and pick the right group of players, but today Brown was superb. He was one of many of the players brought in that made a real impact.
It gives us a good excuse to show the first half goals as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as Tony mentioned in the interview, the first goal is so important, and we mentioned before the game, set plays is a massive part of the game as well. And Duffy, again, you know, they couldn't deal with him today. You know, we get a bit of luck. It's a phenomenal header. I think he gets on the back of maybe Collins or something there, Duffy, but think it comes off his inside of his thigh, but Brown tonight won't care where it's come off. He's found the bottom corner, and it's a brilliant start from Ireland. And we spoke about this pass, and Mike got excited with the Messi shot, but this is De Bruyne. We'll give it to Kevin De Bruyne then. What a fat pass from Obafemi, and the run from Troy as well. He's involved at the start of it, but he gets in the box, and it says one glance to the goalkeeper, Craig Gordon, who's coming at him. He's a big guy. He didn't shirk the challenge, and a brilliant header.
Absolute conviction, he said. The players have absolute conviction in what we're trying to do. Nathan Collins, in that piece we played before, he did speak about Stephen Kenny. He says he gives me the freedom to play the football. Do they strike you as having conviction? I mean, it's the line the manager keeps bringing out.
Yeah, we spoke about maybe sometimes too much conviction at times when they're leading the game today, and they were maybe overplaying at times, and Scotland's best chances first half came from maybe too much conviction.
I got more the impression that he meant that was his way of saying they are behind me. Did anybody else?
Well,
was that?
I don't think there's any question that the players aren't behind the manager, that there's any kind of fallout internally about the results or the way they're doing things. Stephen pointed to a change of system, but tonight wasn't just about the system change. Extra man in midfield really helped, but there was a tempo, there was an aggression. We were dominant at set pieces, the final ball was better, we were tackling all of the things that we haven't seen from the team in the last couple of days, and those things aren't system reliant, which is what made the last couple of games so frustrating. He's right to be, to come out and say those things now, and it's easy to do that in the back of a 3-0 win. But the last two games were disappointing.
Last word to you. What do you expect to see from this game, from this team against Ukraine on Tuesday?
Well, a result, be that even a draw. Go there and keep sort of building another momentum run. Try and obviously love to go there and win the game, but let's not lose the game. Go there and be nice and solid. Maybe not play in the right areas. Like we've seen a couple of goals today. It was actually a long ball up from the goalkeeper and picked up second balls. I'm not saying we can't play from the back, but play in the right areas and hopefully get a result Tuesday.